Welcome to Maui Real News Show. I'm your host, Brother Chris. We have significant breaking news concerning the island's scheduled reopening on October 15th. We have important news behind the scenes, info to share to educate the public and expose negligence. We are information starved here on Maui, so I will get this out all as quickly as I can. We are going to focus on the mayor and the fact that with 7 months into this pandemic and the hope of returning our economy to some semblance of normalcy, the mayor has failed to set up a rapid response COVID-19 task force to mitigate the spread of infected travelers and visitors when they come to Maui. And let's make one thing clear from the start. Whether you believe that the COVID-19 pandemic is dangerous or overhyped, the fact is that if it begins to spread on Maui from reopening without mitigation systems in place, the mayor is prepared to close us down again. And our economy is in no position to experience another lockdown. Many businesses will close never to reopen. Even the Salvation Army thrift store in Kihei, which so many people rely upon, will not be able to reopen if they're forced to close again. So this segment is called What's Going On and What Are We Going to Do About It? First, tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., you're going to see my super professional Maui Real News team on the street in front of the county building with these signs, honk for safe tourism, what we love, we protect. Sponsored by Maui Real News and MauiCauses.org. All updates, videos, and information you hear from me can also be found on MauiCauses.org. Please drive by the mayor's office tomorrow at the county building and make some sounds. Lean in on those horns and let your voices be heard through the sounds of your horns in that county building. We want to keep our economy open, residents safe, and our hospital functioning effectively to serve our community. Lieutenant Governor Josh Green said that 1 out of every 1,000 people who come to our islands can slip through the pre-testing and be infected. They may get infected with COVID after their test or on the plane or at the Starbucks where they came from before getting on the plane. We expect 8,000 visitors a day. That's 8 people or 56 people a week who could be infected with COVID-19. Now, I am not fear-mongering. Those are just the statistics. Dr. Fauci spoke to Josh Green and said that it is critical that we have systems in place to mitigate and stop the spread before it starts, to not let it, quote, blip up, he said. Now, I've already been rebuked online in the name of Jesus for being a commie, so I'm wearing my miraculous medal of the Blessed Virgin to protect me from those however well-intentioned, misguided people. There is an old saying, pray and tie up your camel. In other words, be smart, use common sense. Is Maui being smart? Are we using our common sense right now? 3 days before reopening to tourism, do we have our mitigation systems in place, which Dr. Fauci told Hawaii are critical for reopening? Let me tell you exactly what Mayor Victorino and his operations director, Sandy Baz, are doing right now to help stop the spread of infected travelers and visitors to Maui before it starts. The answer is nothing. Yes, that's right. Mea ole. Nothing. I have been calling the mayor's office. They have been taken away from doing the business of running the county that they do to answer your phone calls. However, and I quote, we have no information to give. We haven't had staff meetings in months. We don't have any answers. We just answer the phones all day and get yelled at by irate residents wanting to know why we don't know anything when we are the mayor's staff. So this morning, October 12th, the mayor getting noticed about our event tomorrow, the 13th, and apparently watching County Council member Kelly King's video calling on Mayor Victorino to release his plan for contact tracing, the mayor released a memo instead to his staff telling them what to tell us when we call. The memo basically tells everyone that Maui is opting into the state travel program, which includes what most of us already know. But just to sum up, the airlines put together a pre-test program. You have to have a negative test at least 72 hours before flying into Hawaii, or else you have to quarantine for 14 days. No pre-test, you quarantine. Only exceptions are for essential workers, and they don't even have to take a test. They can apply for a limited quarantine exemption. From Oahu, that seems fraught with hazard. If you stay in Oahu overnight and want to go to Inter-Island, you have to get a new negative test, which is good. Maui County is requesting travelers to take a voluntary new test 48 to 72 hours after arriving on island at no cost to them. The incentive? A Kama'aina Mahalo card for discounts at 600 businesses. But the mayor's memo also says that the discounts are at the discretion of the business. So maybe they didn't get around to asking them first, I don't know. The test will be an antigen test. Now, what tourist, after hitting the beach, getting into the water and basking in the sun, is going to take a voluntary COVID-19 test? Didn't they come here to forget where they came from? So given that, and more importantly, is there a contact tracing plan for Maui? Answer, no. Are there protocols in place to process incoming tourists at the airport? No. Are we hiring enforcement personnel for those quarantining? No. Are we hiring educational greeters at the airport to inform, answer questions, and offer guidance to travelers and visitors? No. The mayor has been sending his staff members until recently to do that, but there have been complaints to personnel that they're not trained, qualified, or given the proper PPE to protect them while they are processing potentially infected persons going into quarantine. One of the families from Florida who flew into Maui reportedly said to one of the mayor's staff, "We have to quarantine?" And I don't know if you've noticed, but the mayor's staff doesn't include a lot of young people. Plus, at least 8 of his staff have resigned this past year. So here's the deal. The mayor is apparently hoping for the best while not preparing for the worst, or even just preparing at all, which is both unfortunate for all of us and totally unnecessary. The mayor has touted his executive team when they reviewed proposals from business executives throughout the island on economic recovery. However, this so-called executive team is now nowhere to be found, and members of the mayor's staff who I spoke with don't even know who they are. And you will never get a return call from Mr. Baz, the mayor's chief of staff, or the communications director. We need a rapid response COVID-19 reopening task force. We need to put unemployed people to work, Mr. Mayor, and not just rely on your burned out staff who spend all day answering phone calls while providing few answers and not doing the job of running the county. The mayor's office received over $66 million in federal funds from the CARES Act, which only the mayor can authorize to spend. Here's the thing. There is an app called Perseus, which was designed locally in Waimanalo to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 by travelers and visitors. The Planned Emergency Response System Engaging Unified Support App, or Perseus, which was built in Waimanalo by Sustain Hawaii, is designed to enhance existing county and state testing and tracing protocols. The app uses GPS to create a digital location diary that never leaves your phone until you allow it. This is data that will never be stored in a third-party server, one of its developers said. Only if someone tests positive for COVID-19 will they be prompted to voluntarily release their anonymous location data. Even those who don't use the app would be able to see COVID-19 hotspots on a map that would be posted on the internet. So this is the most important part. The county council was fully briefed on the Perseus app by COVID information specialists like Cara Flore of Hale, Hawaii, and the council approved the resolution encouraging the mayor to implement it for the county of Maui for the benefit of both residents and tourists. The following week, the council on the Big Island endorsed it as well. In fact, the state's own app never happened. The state has been struggling, and the state's Safe Travel Program, which has an online application to take the traveler's information, which is what's being used, which we're opting into, was just apparently hacked. You can read about it in Hawaii News Now, and details will be uploaded to mauicauses.org. So it is imperative that we keep our citizens safe while we reopen. The economy depends on it. The state has approved approximately 45 contact tracers at the Dr. Pang's Maui Department of Health, and they plan to use the University of Hawaii Maui College as well to base out of. But without the capacity to contact people within the first 48 hours of exposure, all that tracing will be useless. We need to work with Dr. Pang, hire more tracers, airport greeters, and quarantine enforcement personnel, and we need to implore the mayor to implement the Perseus app immediately to ensure the most safe and effective, successful outcomes, and educate people who are coming to the airports with greeters. The mayor has abdicated the responsibility of Maui County, its residents, and the economy to the state. That is simply not going to work out well for anyone. And it's unacceptable to close because we weren't doing enough to stay open. So I am issuing a call to action for Maui County to immediately establish a rapid response COVID-19 task force headed up by the Operations Director, Sandy Bass, and including 2 council members, Alice Lee and Kelly King, State Rep Tina Wildberger, who is working with Dr. Pang's office, Dr. Pang, Cara Flore of Hale, Hawaii. And if you want real solid, objectively verifiable information about COVID-19, go to Hale, Hawaii's Facebook page. They're very informative. We need the Perseus Act. We need coordination. We need more personnel. And we have the money. Please come out and honk tomorrow if you want to see Maui stay safe and stay open. The mayor himself said, and I quote, "We still need to unite and work together in Maui County," unquote. So let's do it. Let's do it, Mr. Mayor. Time is of the essence. Stay healthy, stay safe, and stay tuned. This is Brother Chris. See you tomorrow. Drive by, honk by, give us some love. The mayor's office, the county building, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Aloha.